Member from Thornhill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And my question is to the Minister of Child and Youth Services. A report came out yesterday that details horrific outcomes for youth who exit the foster care system. Typically, their lives involve low academic achievement, unemployment, underemployment and poverty, homelessness and housing insecurity, criminal justice system involvement, early parenthood, poor physical and mental health, and of course, loneliness. If the child welfare system was a parent, it may well have its kids taken away. Mr. Speaker, will the minister tell us what he is doing to ensure that Ontario's most vulnerable youth have the same future as that which we plan for our own children?
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank the member for the question. As the member knows, over the last several months, we've been working on a new act here in the province of Ontario to better protect children, youth, and families here in our province. In fact, Mr. Speaker, recently a report came out called One Vision, One Voice, which looks at Black youth here in the province of Ontario, specifically in Toronto, where there's a huge overrepresentation of Black youth in our child protection system. And Mr. Speaker, to go even beyond that, within that report there was a call to collect good data. The Anti-Racism Directorate is working to look at how race, when we talk about Black and Indigenous youth who are overly represented. In fact, Mr. Speaker, in Toronto, it's over 50% if you combine the Indigenous and the Black youth together. So we're working with advocates within the child care system to look for ways to better position young people for success here in Ontario.
Thank you. The minister is legally the parent of approximately 1,000 youth who age out of the system every year in Ontario. Their life outcomes are horrific and compromise the talented people who could be thriving in our society. Mr. Speaker, we must have higher expectations for the child welfare system that parents these youth in their most formative years. After all, the new legislation pays a lot of attention to accountability, but there's a big miss. What's missing are checks and balances to determine if our system is an effective parent. Presently, no one is systemically studying the outcomes for youth aging out of Ontario. So, Speaker, if the minister does not measure youth outcomes after care in any way, how does he know if anything he has been implementing is actually working?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. You know, I don't want to politicize this issue, but when we talk about a big mess here in the legislature, not once has anyone from that side of the House asked me about the overrepresentation of Indigenous or Black children in the child welfare system. So I think that's a big miss here in the province of Ontario, and especially in this legislature. Mr. Speaker, we've set up the Anti-Racism Directorate. We're looking at reform of the Act within child welfare. We are looking for ways to better position young people for success. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, those young people, you know, we refer to them sometimes as NEET youth. You know, they're not employed in education or some type of training. There's 173,000 of them. We have a strategy here in the province of Ontario to look for ways to provide more opportunities. And the very fact that this is a government for the first time that look at 16 and 17-year-olds and how to bring them into protection, I think this government should be very proud of the work that it's doing.